how are you? Hope you're good. Welcome to a very first CAWPILE review. CAWPILE is a book reading system that I invented for myself and for any of you if you want to use it. Very much welcome. I explain it in detail in another video. I will link it down below and I'll suggest it here if I remember. I'm very bad at remembering these things. I said that in 2018 I want to do more of the CAWPILE reviews and I want to keep them short and to the point, and there are no spoilers involved, so anyone can watch these. I thought it would be very suitable and symbolic if I started with the book that I finished first in 2018, and that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. To describe the book in one sentence, it's a book about questionable morals of people who are extremely ambitious and decide to push the boundaries of reality or of mortality and end up having supernatural powers. So let's start with the CAWPILE thing. For the characters, I gave this book 8.5, which means that I really thoroughly enjoyed the characters. I wouldn't think that they were my favorite. I wouldn't say that they were like extremely, you know, fangirl worthy, but I really did enjoy the dynamic between the characters. The truth of this book is to jump backwards and explore the backstory of the characters, and I am a very character-driven person, and there is something about starting in a story and then only then going back to check what the characters had going on before that and not get to know the characters as you go in the current timeline. There's something about that that I really found myself enjoying recently. Another book that comes to mind is like Six of Crows, because that really adds to the story in my opinion. I personally really like it when it's done that way, and I'm not gonna lie, the fact that there was a dog in the team of characters that we have on one side, because there's like a conflict between like two sides. So the fact that there is a dog in one of the teams, and even if it doesn't play like a massive role, but there is a dog, and it's just like, I love dogs, okay? And dogs in books always make me happy, and I don't see enough of that. And I mean like dogs in like the the main character, because if there are main characters then it's gonna be sad and it's gonna break me, so I don't like that. I'm not gonna lie, that definitely added some points to that. Next up is Atmosphere, which I gave an 8 for. Again, really decent, really nicely done. It is sort of set in our world. I mean, it's based around our world, at least. I'm not even sure. I don't think that the city is real, but it's set in a world similar to ours, at least. I don't think that Atmosphere was the main driver for the book, but it was good enough to add to the story. Do you know what it means? It did give me the dark, mysterious vibe and helped out the story, especially in the end of the book, I think, where the action happens. And throughout the whole reading of this book I always imagine it nighttime and I don't even know, that's probably not even true, but I really like how that darkness added to the scenario, and I gave it an 8. For the writing style, I am a fan of Victoria's writing style in general. I really love the Darker Shade of Magic's trilogy. Whilst you can definitely recognize her writing in Vicious, it is quite different. You still get the short chapters and you still get like sort of short sentences that are like to the point. Their main purpose is to shock and contrast. I really do enjoy it. I found there were a lot of lines that really spoke to my soul. I really did enjoy it, and I gave it 8.5. Again, it's not something that like shook me to the core, but I really did enjoy it still. For the plot, I gave it a 9. Granted, it took me a bit longer than I expected to read this book, but only because in the middle of it I started reading The Final Empire, and then after that it was really like, I was a low-key in a reading slump because that book, but I didn't want to start the second one straight away. The plot is actually really good. It really like keeps you on the edge of your seat just because the chapters are so short and you're getting snippets of the past and you have to put all the pieces together. So the plot was really good, and I'm not a plot-driven person, but if you are, I also think that this book just has a really nice balance between the characters and the plot, but I do think that the plot is probably a little bit of a upper hand when this book is concerned, so I gave it a 9. For the intrigue, I gave 7.5, which is still really good, but as I said, in the middle of it I didn't lose interest, but it would be one of those times that I would just pick the book up, read a little bit and put the book down, and wouldn't really like want to sit and read it. I am pointing out at The Final Empire and the fact that I finished that and then went back to this one. obviously this is all subjective and from my perspective, so I couldn't just be like, oh, but it's because I read the other book. Well, yeah, of course. My book ratings are probably gonna vary at like 1 point depending on the mood that I read the book in, but who doesn't? For the logic, I thought everything was really well explained. Nothing really made me like stop and be like, huh? And you know, I was happy with the explanation of the world and the story and the process of everything happening, and I gave it a 9.5. For enjoyment, I gave it a 8.5, which is very similar to the intrigue part, because there were periods that I wasn't really like into it, but at the very end I did still really enjoy it, and I think it's such a quick and awesome book to read. But the very last chapter, by the way, just like, it was so cinematographic. I could see it in front of my eyes. I could see it in like an X-Men movie, and I was like, this is such an amazing end to a book. Just like a random thing to throw out of here. And in total, when you calculate the score and divide it by 7, this book was 8.5, which means is higher end of 4 stars, and I think it's very accurate to what I generally feel about this book. It's awesome. So if that's something that you think you might also enjoy, I really recommend you grab on to Vicious and read it. I don't think it's gonna take a while, because the short chapters and the intrigue really drives you forward, and the writing style is really nice as well. It is an adult book, and I would say that there are some triggers, possibly if you're a bit more sensitive about topic of death and some gory stuff and questionable morals, and not necessarily for you. But if you keep that in mind, and if you still think that if you want to give it a go, I would definitely recommend it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you like the format of the review. Is this something you want to see in the future? Let me know that in the comments. Let me know if you read this. Please keep it spoiler free, because this is spoiler free zone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye!